If you've spent any real time around dachshund people, you start to notice something strange. The dogs are all wildly different. Some are loud, some are nasy, some are tiny four-legged dictators. But the owners fall into patterns, clear ones, predictable ones. In fact, after watching thousands of dachshund households, we're convinced there are exactly 5 types of dachshund owners walking this earth. Not 4, not 6, 5. And here's the fun part. You're one of them. You might even be 2 of them at once, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which. So stay with us, because somewhere in the next few minutes, you're going to hear descriptions so accurate, it'll feel like we've been living in your house. Let's get into it. Number 1, the translator. The translator doesn't just own a dachshund. The translator speaks for a dachshund. Every sigh, every dramatic flop onto the sofa, every long, judgmental stare gets narrated out loud, usually in a voice the owner invented years ago and now can't stop using. When the dog refuses to go outside in the rain, the translator announces it to the room. They said absolutely not. They said we can try again in an hour. When the dog burrows under 3 blankets and leaves only a nose poking out, the translator explains that this is office hours and the dog isn't taking meetings right now. Here's the thing though, the translator isn't actually making it up. Dachshunds are one of the most expressive breeds you'll ever live with. They communicate with their whole body. The slow blink of disapproval, the single raised paw of negotiation, the deep theatrical groan when asked to move 6 inches to the left. The translator has simply spent so many hours studying this little creature that they've genuinely cracked the code. What sounds like a silly voice to everyone else is actually years of careful observation compressed into a running commentary that's usually dead accurate. Ask a translator what their dachshund is thinking at any given moment, and they'll tell you, instantly, confidently, and correctly. If you've ever answered a question on your dog's behalf without even pausing, or if your dachshund has a speaking voice that your whole family now recognizes, congratulations, you're a translator. And honestly, your dog probably approves of the casting. Quick one, if your dachshund is barking, having potty accidents, ignoring you, or you're worried about their back, I put everything that actually works into a 30-day plan to protect their back, master potty training, and stop stubborn behavior. 1 printable page a day, 15 minutes, no experience needed. Links in the description. Let's continue. Number 2, the bodyguard. The bodyguard heard the phrase dachshunds are prone to back problems exactly once, and their entire personality changed forever. This is the owner who has ramps. Not a ramp, ramps, plural. 1 for the sofa, 1 for the bed, 1 for the car, and possibly a spare in the boot, just in case civilization collapses and a ramp emergency arises. The bodyguard has read every article about intervertebral disc disease ever published. They can pronounce intervertebral without slowing down. They flinch, physically flinch, when a guest lets the dog jump off the couch. And you know what? The bodyguard is right. That long, low body is a masterpiece of design and a liability at the same time, and the bodyguard treats every staircase like a crime scene waiting to happen. They carry their dachshund down the stairs like precious cargo. They've trained visitors. Support the back end, both hands, no, both hands. They watch other people hold their dog the way a driving instructor watches a nervous teenager approach a roundabout. The bodyguard lives with a quiet, permanent awareness that they are personally responsible for one very long spine, and they take that job more seriously than most people take their actual careers. The funny part is that the dachshund has absolutely no idea. The dog would happily launch off the bed like a furry missile every single morning if allowed. The bodyguard is fighting a one-sided war against gravity, and the enemy is their best friend. If you've ever positioned yourself between your dog and a jump before your brain even processed what was happening, pure reflex, no thought, you're a bodyguard. Your dog's future self thanks you, even if their current self finds you deeply annoying. Quick pause. If you're already recognizing yourself, or worse, recognizing someone you live with, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button, because the next 3 types are where it gets personal. Number 3, the negotiator. The negotiator came into dachshund ownership believing they would be the one in charge. That belief lasted roughly 11 days. Because here's what nobody fully explains before you get one. A dachshund isn't disobedient exactly. A dachshund is a professional. They hear your command, they understand it perfectly, and then they open negotiations. Come inside? Interesting proposal. What's on the table? Get off the bed? Bold opening offer. Counter offer? No. So the negotiator adapts. They stop giving orders and start making deals. Recall doesn't happen with a whistle anymore. It happens with a rustled treat bag, a specific tone of voice, and sometimes a full performance. The negotiator knows exactly which treat unlocks which behavior, like a locksmith with a very specific set of keys. Cheese gets you a recall. Chicken gets you a bath without screaming. Nothing on this earth gets you a nail trim, and the negotiator has made peace with that. Somewhere along the way, the negotiator stopped pretending to be the boss and quietly became a skilled diplomat serving at the pleasure of a 10-pound head of state. And here's the twist. The negotiator is usually the happiest owner of the five, because once you stop fighting a dachshund's stubbornness and start working with it, life gets remarkably smooth. The dog gets what they want, you get what you want, and everyone maintains the polite fiction that you're in charge. If you've ever caught yourself saying, "Okay, last one, I mean it this time," while handing over a fourth treat, you already know you're a negotiator, and you lost the original war a long time ago. But you won the peace. Number 4. The collector. The collector started with one dachshund. That's how it always begins. 1. A perfectly reasonable number of dachshunds. But something happens to certain people once that first sausage-shaped shadow starts following them from room to room. They start doing what we can only call dachshund maths, a special form of arithmetic where one dog plus one dog somehow equals less work, not more. They'd keep each other company, the collector says. It's basically the same amount of effort, the collector says. These statements are false, and the collector knows they're false, and the collector does not care. You can spot a collector even before the second dog arrives. Their phone is 90% dachshund photos. Their social feeds are exclusively dachshund accounts. They stop strangers on the street, not to show off their own dog, but to meet the other dachshund coming down the pavement, because collectors are drawn to each other like magnets. They know every dachshund in the neighborhood by name, coat type, and personality. The humans attached to those dogs? Vague blurs, irrelevant. For the collector, a dachshund isn't really a pet at all. It's the first member of a small, long-bodied nation they intend to grow one adoption at a time. And the wildest part is how the dogs themselves seem to encourage it. 2 dachshunds curled into one warm spiral under a blanket is one of the most persuasive images in the entire animal kingdom. If you've ever looked at your one dog and thought, you know what you need? A colleague. That's it. That's the moment. You're a collector, and it's only a matter of time. Number 5. The convert. And finally, the most fascinating type of all. The convert never wanted a dachshund. Let's be honest. The convert never wanted a small dog, full stop. This is the person who spent years saying things like, if I ever get a dog, it'll be a real dog, while making vague gestures at the horizon. Then life happened. A partner brought one home. A family member needed someone to take theirs. A rescue post appeared at exactly the wrong moment. And suddenly this person, this proud, self-declared big dog person, was sharing a house with a creature the size of a loaf of bread. The transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens in stages. First comes tolerance. Then comes the day the dachshund chooses their lap over everyone else's, because dachshunds have a supernatural gift of identifying the one person in the room who claims not to care. Then comes the nickname, then the second nickname, then the special voice. Yes, even the convert gets a voice eventually. And one day, without any official announcement, the convert becomes the most obsessed person in the entire household. Nobody defends a dachshund more fiercely than the person who once swore they'd never own one, because every convert carries the zeal of someone who found out they were wrong in the best possible way. Ask a convert about small dogs now and watch what happens. This isn't a small dog, they'll tell you with complete sincerity. This is a big dog in a compact format. This dog doesn't know what size they are. The convert will then list their dachshund's bravest moments like war stories. If any of this is hitting a little close to home, if you're currently being watched by a long little dog you once claimed you didn't want, welcome, you're a convert. And everyone saw it coming, except you. So, which one are you? The translator, narrating a life in a voice you invented? The bodyguard, defending one precious spine against the entire concept of stairs? The negotiator, closing deals with a very small, very stubborn business partner? The collector, quietly doing dachshund maths at 2 in the morning? Or the convert, out here defending the breed you once dismissed? Maybe you're a blend, a translator with strong bodyguard tendencies, or a convert who's about 3 weeks away from becoming a collector. Drop your type in the comments and be honest, because dachshund people can always tell. If this video described you or someone you love a little too accurately, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this with the one dachshund owner who needs to see themselves clearly. Because let's face it, they're not going to figure it out on their own. See you in the next one.